It's the Profit Answer Man, Rocky Lalvani. Before we start, let's hear a Profit First success story from Mike Suderman.
My name's Mike Suderman. I'm the founder and president of Ascent Select Talent Capital. We help companies hire talent quickly without sacrificing quality. I'm telling you right now, if it wasn't for the fact that I already had those accounts set up, it would have been a ugly situation, to say the least, come tax time. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. My CPA called and she said, "Mike, I've been dreading making this call for 3 weeks." And I said, "Well, what's the final tally? What do I owe the state? What do I owe the feds?" And it was substantial. It was it was almost 6 figures. And she told me, and I said, "No problem. I'll have checks. I'll drop checks at the office tomorrow for you." And she said, "What?" She said, I make these calls all the time, and I've been doing this for 25 years, and nobody has ever just said, "No problem. I'll bring you the checks." And she was dumbfounded. Hundreds of people about Profit First and the system. It works like a charm, and it just makes you a much, much, much better business person, operator, and I can't say enough about it. So it's fantastic.
How do you handle the tax bill? Like Mike, with money set aside to pay it, or like the 99% of other small business owners who freak out? That's the goal of this podcast, is to help you be the 1% of small business owners like Mike, and for you to understand your financial numbers so you can make better decisions. We learn money mastery without all the complicated accounting mumbo jumbo, using a simple system. Your accountant is busy documenting your transactions and creating your rearview mirror of what happened. My guess is you don't even look at the reports they sent you. If you're like most business owners, you struggle with this, and the reality is it's not your fault. We're not taught money in school. The Profit First system created by Mike Michalowicz works, and he certified me to help you implement it in your business. Let's face it, without cash flow, you can't pay your employees, buy needed materials, or pay your mortgage and support your family. I help you do that and more, so you can focus on the parts of your business you love and receive the rewards for your labor and investment into your business. Just remember, more revenue does not equal more profit. That's why we focus on the bottom line, profit. In order to help you, I need your help. Let me know where you're struggling and what you want to hear more about. You can always email me questions@profitanswerman.com, or go to the Facebook group and post them there. There's links in the show notes to get to all of this easily. I'll answer your questions both on the show and respond back to you. Today, we're going to talk about how profitable your business really is. Now, you may get mad at yourself when you find out. We think we're spending in line, but many times we overspend as business owners. That is why we are here to figure it out today. We're going to transform from finding out what your profit is at tax time to getting a profit check every single quarter. What would that mean to you to get a profit distribution every quarter? I'm going to show you how to figure out your numbers, and I put a link in the show notes so you can download the Excel file to do this for yourself. You're going to need to grab your tax return and your profit and loss statements. The reality is you could also do this on the back of a napkin. This is not advanced math. So if you've got the Excel sheet open, in the top box, you put your total sales. You should find this on your profit and loss or on your tax return, or ask your accountant or bookkeeper to look for these numbers. The next thing we want to figure out is something called real revenue. A lot of businesses have pass-through amounts that really aren't part of their bottom line. And what this means is you might think you have $1 million business, but in reality, you have a $200,000 business. And that's what we want to figure out so you can appropriately spend and figure out your percentages for profit first. So here's the question you need to ask yourself. Do you have materials or contractors that make up more than 25% of sales? If you do, we want to figure out that percentage and that amount. Not all businesses have to deal with this. Some do. And we're not talking about your employee costs. That's totally separate. Let me give you a few examples of businesses that might do this. So if you're an e-commerce reseller and you resell goods that you typically mark up, let's say 100%, that cost of goods would go on this line. Let's say you're in the construction business and you have subs and you provide a markup of a small amount, or you just pass through the cost of the subs to the customer on a regular basis, this cost would go on that line. Let's say you're an HVAC business and you buy and bill for systems that are generally a large part of the overall contract price. We'd want to put that part on this line. Let's say you're a real estate brokerage firm and 50% of your revenue is directly paid out in commissions. Well, that would go on this line. If you're not sure, just go with 0. If you have a question, email me and ask. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to subtract this number from our total sales, and that gives us in box 3 what we call real revenue. This is what all the other percentages that we're going to work on are based off. I know it's confusing. Again, just email me your specific situation and I'll let you know. Some people think that this is gross profit. It's not, so don't use that number. Next, we're going to figure out the most important number, your profit. So in this column, you could use the profit that you got on your last year's tax return. Remember the number that your accountant told you, but you never see? Or if you're taking owner's draws above your salary, then that would go here. I'm not talking about owner's draws that are your salary or your compensation. For most businesses, this number may be 0. And that's because we don't normally focus on ensuring that we're profitable. The next number that we want to figure out is your pay and the pay of all the owners of the business. So again, you should be able to easily get this off your reports. And if you're on payroll, it's pretty simple to figure out. And that goes into the next box. The next box is the taxes that you pay on yourself and your income and your business taxes. I'm not talking about employee payroll. For most companies, they don't usually pay the income tax of the owner, but they should. And if your business isn't profitable, your business taxes may be 0. So think about this for a moment. Right now, you pay taxes out of your paycheck, but what if your business could pay your taxes and reimburse you? That would be a big boost. The main reason this is important is because this is what we heard from Mike at the beginning. We forget about taxes, and during times of growth, we lag in setting aside to ensure that we pay them. The tax account ensures you have the money for taxes when the time comes. You get to sleep at night, and so we want to make sure that we set this aside. Everything that's left goes into operating expenses. You can pull all your costs for employees, leasing buildings, utilities, everything else, the things that you buy to run your business, it all goes in this last amount. If you struggle with this, ask your accountant or bookkeeper to provide you the numbers. Now, here's the thing. We don't need to be perfect. We're not accountants. We just need to be pretty close to get started. and once we're close, we'll adjust things over time. All these numbers that we just created below that second box, so 3 through the rest of them, they should all, actually including the second box, should all add up to your top line sales. If there's a negative number, it could mean that you're putting cash into the business or borrowing. And if that's the case, we need to fix this fast. I encourage you to do it in the spreadsheet because the spreadsheet will run all your calculations and provide you with action steps based on the size of your revenue and the average targets in the book. The percentages are also on the second tab in the Excel sheet if you want to see them. These may or may not apply exactly to your business. The real question is, are you happy with your percentages? What can you do to cut costs and increase profits to get more in line with the averages? When you look at the percentage, you will notice that the tax percentage stays the same regardless of size. Profit percentages increase with revenue growth. Your pay decreases with revenue growth as a percentage of revenue, but not in actual dollars. Your operating expenses grow as a percentage as your business grows. The bigger your business, the higher your overhead, but these are made up in real dollar volumes. The majority of businesses are not near the target allocations in the book. However, over time, and that might mean a couple of years, you can work towards the goals. Most business owners need to learn frugality and getting rid of expenses that really don't help the business, but help someone else get rich. It's time to let go of our egos and fears. Look, it's not your fault. You're not an accountant. You love what you do, and we're not taught this in schools. I have an MBA. They didn't teach it to me. If you're a new business, you can also figure out your percentages and reverse engineer the numbers backwards to see if you will be profitable. You could do this for a new project that you're looking to start at. It will help you determine if the pricing you're going to charge actually makes you profitable. So, get your instant assessment done, and if you want me to comment on it, email it to me. If you can take one step this week, it's to create a profit account and start putting 1% of your real revenue in it every time you sit down to pay bills, or have whoever does that do it for you. Let's face it, if you can't afford to put away $10 out of every $1,000 in real revenue, we've got bigger problems. This tiny small step will over time compound to massive wealth. It works. It's how I built my wealth. Remember, you don't need more resources. We need to be more resourceful. In order to make this the best podcast and help you, I need your help. What do you need to learn more about? And what are your questions? Where are you struggling with this? And let me know if I'm being clear. You can always get me questions at Profit Answer Man. I read every email. I'd also love to share your success stories on the podcast. All the links are in the show notes. And if you want to learn about living the life of your dreams, check out my other podcast, Richer Soul. Let's thrive and grow, have a profitable week, and start that 1% habit of putting your profit aside. Have a great day.